Hey guys, we are going to be talking today about distributive property. I'm sorry that I can't be here today to do these notes with you, but my daughter had an appointment that I had to be at, so I thought I would just do a little video for you. So you need to be taking notes along with the video just like you do during class. So let's go ahead and get started. So when we look at distributive property, you've learned about distributive property before. So distributive property is when you have this number being multiplied by an entire quantity. And we can take this 3 and we can distribute or pass out that multiplication. So I can do 3 times 2x. So when I do 3 times 2x, 3 times 2 gives me 6x plus 3 times 5 gives me 15. So I take that multiplying of the 3 and I multiply it by both quantities inside that parentheses. If I look at number 2, I'm going to take negative 6 times 4x, which is a negative 24x, plus negative 6 times 2, which would be a negative 12. Make sure you put that negative in parentheses so it sets it apart. Now when I look at number 3, negative 10 times x gives me a negative 10x. Now remember, we talked about simplifying with combining like terms, that subtraction is attached to my 8. This is the same thing as a negative 8. So I have to take my negative 10 times negative 8. So what's negative 10 times negative 8? It's a positive 80. So I have negative 10 times negative 8 because I include that subtraction with my 8. Taking a look at number 4. Same thing. I've got negative 5 times 2x, which is a negative 10x. That subtraction is attached to my 13. So I take negative 5 times negative 13, and that gives me a positive 65. Let's look at number 5. 12 times negative x is a negative 12x, plus 12 times 5 gives me 60. I'm going to skip number 6 because you're going to come back to that in just a second. Number 7, what happens when I have a fraction? Well, I'm going to multiply. I have 1/2 times x, so that's 1/2 x, plus 1/2 times 4. And when I take 1/2 times 4, that gives me 2. So you can come out here and do 1/2 times 4 over 1. Remember, you're cross reducing, and that gives us a 2. Number 8, 1/3 times y would give us 1/3 y. 1/3 times negative 9 is going to give me a minus 3. Because it was a positive times a negative, so it stays minus 3. And 1/3 times 9 is 3. One more, and then you're going to do some on your own. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 11. Actually, let's take a look at number 10. So we're going to take 3/4 times 2x. So I'm going to come over here, and I'll take 3/4 times 2 over 1. Cross reduce, and so we end up getting 3/2 times x plus 3/4 times 10 over 1 gives us a 2 and a 5. So we end up with 15 over 2. Always leave those improper. We do not want those to be mixed numbers. Okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to pause the video. I want you to do the remaining numbers, and then you're going to come back and check those answers. So pause it and then do those problems, and then then come back and check those problems. Okay, so now that you have finished those problems, you need to check them. So we have number 6 would be negative 54x plus 63. Number 9 would be 2/3 a plus 4. Number 12 would be negative 3/8 y minus 9/4. Number 13 negative 3 halves x plus negative 1/3. And number 14 would be 12x plus half. Okay, so taking a look now at, we'll just do 15 and 16 together. And then you're going to do the other ones on your own and then check them. So this is just our simplify the expression by combining like terms. So remember that you need to separate off your like terms, and the subtraction goes with the number behind it. The addition goes with the number behind it. So if I draw those lines in there, it kind of helps separate my terms. So I end up with a negative 2x minus 3x. So negative 2 plus negative 3 gives me negative 5x. 5 minus 8 would be a minus 3. So we could have negative 5x minus 3, or you could have negative 5x plus negative 3 if you would like that instead. Taking a look at number 16, I have a 2/3 x, a negative 1/8 x, and a negative 3x. I need to combine all of those, which means I need common denominators for those. So when I make my common denominators, my common denominator could be 24. And so if I make this 24, this is going to be 16 24ths plus my negative 1/8 is going to be negative 3 24ths plus, and then I'm going to make that 1, so this is going to be negative, what is my denominator, 24? Ooh. This would be negative 72 over 24. So now when I add all those numerators together, I get 16 plus a negative 3. That gives me 13. And 13 plus negative 72 gives me a negative 59 24ths x plus 5. That was a hard one. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and do 17, 18, 19, and 20, and then pause it, do those problems, come back and check this. Okay, so now that you have completed those problems, let's take a look at those. Number 17 would be negative 4x minus 24. Number 18 was a hard one. You would put together your negative 3/10 and negative 2/5, and we would get negative 7/10. 5x minus negative 1/5 x actually gives us 5 1/5 x, which is 26/5 x. If you had this as your answer, that's fine too. Number 19 would be 9x plus 3, and 20 would be 5x plus 9. So if you need to go back through and review this video, you can, but your practice that you need to start working on would be the distributive property practice. So you've got 1 through 20 is distributive property. You have some fractions on there too. And then you have some practice with your combining like terms on the back. These are all whole numbers and integers, so you should not need a calculator for any of these. Okay. If you finish this, don't forget you have 10 ALEKS topics due tonight at midnight. Do the best you can on it. If you need extra help, I will be back this afternoon during SOAR. You can also, we can talk about it tomorrow as we move through and start working on some other things. Okay? Have a great day, guys. Be good for the 7th.